nothing today would be a complete answer without mentioning AI at least once.
I was going to ask, but I wondered if it would come up. So I'm really interested in your thoughts. Welcome back to the Teams Insider podcast. This week we are talking a Teams phone and Teams contact center customer journey in South Africa. We talked to Mike, who's the CTO at LabourNet. Really interesting conversation about their journey to Teams phone, how it's improving their customer service, and also how they're using Landis Contact Centre and really making a data-driven approach to serving their customers. Really interesting conversation. We also were joined by ScopServ, who are their partner, and we talked about the deployment and really how they're maximising their investment. Thanks to Mike for joining the podcast, and also many thanks to Landis, who are the sponsor of the podcast. Really appreciate their support. On with the show. Hey everybody, welcome back to the podcast. You know, on the pod we really like to hear customer stories, and really excited to hear this one, a bit of a different story, and from South Africa as well, so nice to get some a bit more global coverage on the pod. We're going to be talking to Mike at LabourNet and ScopServ, who are the partner who helped him with the Teams journey and also contact center journey, which we're going to get into in a bit more detail. And first of all, Mike, thanks for doing the pod. Do you want to say hello and introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thanks for inviting me. I'm the CTO at LabourNet, and looking forward to us exploring a little on what we've achieved.
Awesome, thanks. And Janet?
Thank you so much, Tom. It's a privilege to be part of this conversation today. My name is Janet Souter-Dantu, and I'm one of the co-founders of ScopServ Integrated Services. Worked in the customer experience space and the unified communications and contact center environments and organizations across the labor advisory and legal services, higher education, financial services, healthcare, insurance, and particularly BPOs and contact center and the public sector. And looking forward to this conversation today.
Yeah, interested to get your wider perspective on the different markets as well. And also we have Vanesia.
Hi, I'm Vanesia, and I head up the sales team at ScopServ. I'm looking forward to this conversation and looking at the whole Teams and Microsoft ecosystem for LabourNet.
Awesome, thanks. So Mike, give us some context about LabourNet, because it's quite an interesting organisation, like thousands of clients, and you've been there for quite a while as well.
Thank you very much. LabourNet is an HR, payroll, and legislative compliance provider. That's a whole lot. So what does it really mean? We really partner with our clients to provide and support them in a range of specialist services across multiple domains: labor law, payroll, occupational health and safety, broad-based Black economic empowerment in South Africa, employment equity, and training and information compliance. In the South African context, that would be POPI, or analogous to GDPR in the European market. So it's quite a broad spectrum of offerings and business domains that we support our clients in. But I think first and foremost, the important piece here is it's not only about meeting the legislative compliance, but really trying to assist our clients to see and leverage compliance as an advantage or position themselves as an employer of choice at the end of the day. So that's a little bit about who we are, what we do. At the core of all of those solutions is our payroll offering. We have a national presence in most of all of the major centers. We have a spread across the South African and elements of the African market. And it's really about us making sure that we acknowledge that good business practices are not about the size of the organization, whether you're rural or local or metropole. It's really an important factor. And for us, that presence where our customers are, where they're doing business is really important. So that gives us an intimate relationship and ability to deliver in that legislative compliance space we were mentioning earlier.
Awesome. And I'm guessing with those varied types of customers and the geographic spread you have, like IT comms is a big part of the business.
Very much so. And I think it's really exacerbated in our business, the sort of post-COVID era, where business became a lot more dispersed, less and less of a reliance on central in the office, etc. So it's a great drive for us to ensure that we're enabling not just our clients to experience the service that we offer, but really to support our consultants who are engaging with the clients across those domains in such a way that they can be effective and position the LabourNet offering.
And what does the business look like in terms of headcount and locations? You've obviously got a massive coverage there. I'm guessing that's some physical office, some agent remote working. What's that
yes,
look like?
very much so. So we have office in Johannesburg and Cape Town, Durban, the major centers. Then we have satellite offices or regional offices within the smaller centers, things or areas like Eastern Cape in Northwest through to Mpumalanga, etc. So we have quite a number of offices across the country, right the way down to even in the very remote regions of the Northern Cape, where we may have an individual who is appropriately qualified, and again, to maybe draw the cliche out a little bit, got married to a farmer, farmers out in the Northern Cape, but still being able to deliver in the legal practice and the skills that are there, because there are businesses everywhere.
That's awesome. And take us a little bit through, obviously, pre-Teams, you must have had some other communications platform. What drove you on the Microsoft Teams journey?
Okay, so yes, absolutely. We definitely did have other platforms involved. I think we can never discount the standard PTSN type GSM, etc. So that was always a platform that we had in place. We then ventured into the more digital type communication space with alternate providers, sort of looking at where our business was going, how we are aiming to drive that experience that our clients have. I think it's important to maybe just digress a little before I answer the question explicitly of why Teams is. Even though a lot of what we do is preparing our clients to be legislatively compliant, let's be honest, the only time that they phone us is when, what I say, they're under duress. There's one of a few things that happen. Either a Department of Labour inspector has arrived at their premise and said, we're coming to do an audit. So that call is to say, help us make sure, what do we got? How do we do? Talk us through this. Or else it is something like a disciplinary hearing, or there's been some workplace incident, and the client in reality is under stress. It's never a fun exercise. So,
and it's always very timely as well. This is not send you an email, let me know in a week. This is, I need to get on this.
So with that being kind of a reality of how we engage, that pre-work is easy in context because it's scheduled, it's planned, you can work with it, etc. But once you get into the second phase of it, when there's an incident, whatever the nature of that incident is, it's now a critical situation. And we firmly believe there are various other business models, but our key approach is to say, at that point in time, our clients want to speak to and engage with a human, an individual, preferably that consultant who understands their business, not just one of 1,000 potential consultants who technically are skilled, but those who they've engaged with before, we've built up a relationship, et cetera, et cetera. So all of these dynamics are a really important piece. So if I then put that into context as well and say, when we receive that call, I think the first thing that a client really wants to see is to get that sense of, we've got your back. This is what needs to be done. And most importantly, the first 2 or 3 steps in the process are handled quickly, slickly, etc. So I'm going to go back to your question and say, Teams over the sort of post-COVID era grew in stature in our business quite significantly. It was driving what we are seeing as our core platform for supporting our consultants and engaging. And it was a natural transition just to look at the Teams platform and say, how do we extend a single platform across all of our stakeholders? And ultimately, our objective is that we have a seamless interface directly between our clients and our consultants. I think that was the major driver for going down the route with the Teams communication platform as a foundation. And I think everybody would love to say that the telephone is something that is going to die. I think it's going to die just the week after COBOL dies. And we really can't ignore it. It is such an important part of the communication infrastructure.
And so, like, it's a big change going from kind of primarily GSM and PSTN to a UC platform. How was that journey? And I guess that's where kind of ScopServ played a part in that journey, I guess.
Yes, very much so. It's still very much a journey. We are not there. We are the first ones to admit that there are unfortunately still some of our clients that don't get the best experience, but we're working at it every day and aim to move that in the right direction.
Is connectivity quite variable in some of those
Well,
locations
connectivity
as well?
will always be a variable for us with the broad spectrum. And unfortunately, we have to acknowledge, even though it's not true, in the client's mind, it's always our side that's breaking. It's always our side that's got the problem.
It's good to acknowledge that you are serving the customer, so it's guilty until proven innocent.
Well,
that's IT all over.
It doesn't even help trying to prove that we're not innocent. It's just a reality. So it's really trying to acknowledge that. Associated with it as well was the initial POC, and I think that was probably the most important aspect for us, in that we were able to, with the assistance of ScopServ and Landis, and everything was coordinated for us through the ScopServ team. It was a very easy engagement model, and it really gave us that ability to take the step and put let's call them less than ideal experiences that we'd had in the previous engagements behind us, and get to a position where we said, okay, this unified model can really work in this area where we have, as you said, this high pressure situation, everything is time critical, etc. And I think then from there, the other part to it is this is almost certainly never, and in the case of Teams-based communication platform, including telephony, it's not one provider that we're dealing with. It's not one single ubiquitous solution that you just drop down and everything works seamlessly. So that coordination that ScopServ were able to provide us in terms of the physical aspects of getting telephone lines moved from old to new, coordinating with the codec providers, etc., I think bringing all of the parties together was the secret to the success. And then Landis, being a US organization and US based, and us being in South Africa, wildly different time zones. But I've got to acknowledge that both Landis and ScopServ were there with us all the way. It didn't matter that it was a 10 o'clock in the evening call, South Africa time, so that we could engage with the US support team. And vice versa. The US team would often wake up at early hours of the morning to engage with us when we had a critical situation. So it really was a great partnership that developed across the broad set of organizations. And the danger of having a solution where you've got multiple parties never materialized. That danger of it's not my problem, it must be the other guy. And I think that's a really important aspect to the successes that we had. Everybody was vested in finding the solution or proving where the problem wasn't, rather than the departure point of it's not mine.
That's great to hear. And you mentioned Landis there as your contact center on top of Teams. Like, what were the use cases and what did that look like? What were the features you needed from the Landis Contact Centre that drove you to that solution? Okay,
so we have a level of complexity in that we can never predict where the demand is going to come from. So yes, we have regional offices, and a client calling in who's in region A, if we get 10 problems in that area, we've only got one, especially in a smaller area, we've got one available branch administrator in that. If they're now receiving this call, they can only handle one call at a time. So we need to be able to distribute our calls across our global network. Who's picking it up? What are they doing? Where is it? So one of the key elements was being able to identify where the pressure points are, reroute those calls via queues to the whoever is available, leveraging off of Teams presence, as well as, I'm going to call it, manually triggered presence or closed off situations. So I think that whole that is the core aspect of really just bringing in the not so much a skills-based aspect, but an availability-based aspect of who can service the client. Coming back to what I was saying about our objective is that any client calling it at any time should speak to an individual within our organization, being handled with empathy within 1 minute. So that should never be more than that.
That's a tight SLA, especially with a company
yes.
of your level of customers.
Correct. And do we get it right? Yeah, sometimes. Are we on that journey? Absolutely, and we will get it right eventually. But that's what we're stretching ourselves towards.
No, I appreciate the transparency. And Janet, maybe that's a good time to get your perspective, both on the partnership with LabourNet and also like how you helped with this Teams journey and working with Landis and LabourNet.
Thank you so much again, Tom. Who we are, I think I kind of opened up with that. And we specialize in communications. And over the years, we've worked closely with a lot of enterprises like BPOs, the financial sector, the healthcare sector, retail and public. And then obviously recently with LabourNet, that was a very, very, very exciting journey for us. And at ScopServ, we focus strongly on those long-term partnerships. It's not just here's another customer. It's about that long-term partnership. And we truly believe in that journey and not just sell and disappear or provide and disappear. We will walk that entire journey with our clients from a strategy and a design through to the implementation, the user adoption, the optimization, and the ongoing support. So we're really involved in the commercial and the operational, as well as the people side of the business, making sure solutions make financial sense, deliver measurable return on investment, and most importantly, empower teams on ground levels to succeed, right? Excuse the pun on the teams there. Sorry, I just had to throw that in there. But what really drives us building our relationships is trust and protecting our customers' brands as well, and ensuring that technology becomes an enabler of a great service and not a barrier. So again, like I said, I'm really excited to be here with LabourNet and Landis to share this journey and all the lessons learned and hopefully some very practical insights that other organizations can potentially take away. Mike, I'd like to know, how did ScopServ help you understand what was possible within the Microsoft ecosystem for your organization and your contact center, and what challenges led LabourNet to explore a Teams-based contact center solution, and how did you identify the need for this approach?
Part of our strategy is to establish what we call the LabourNet platform. And our objective there is to say that the platform is where our clients and our consultants meet in the digital world. So with that platform approach. Doesn't matter whether it is a product offering, i.e. we have a client who is using our payroll system and they are self-sufficient and they capture their own data and they do whatever, or whether it is a disciplinary hearing that needs to be scheduled and then subsequently chaired and so on, that all of those interactions land up in the platform. Similarly to what I was saying earlier around communication and visibility of information, etc., as an organization, we've seen the value of Teams, and we believe that it is a natural extension in both from a pure technology perspective, but also from that client engagement platform perspective, as the foundation to achieving that. So that was the driver to explore initially. Sounds feasible. Now let's find out whether it's possible, and then how practical, and then how value generative is it. And I think that was kind of the process of going through. I think the piece that allowed us to transition from this is a twinkle of a good idea towards a practical solution was being able to really have a solid foundation developed off of the POC I was referring to earlier. I think that's where we got the real value and turned the corner.
Were there any unexpected efficiency gains, customers experience improvements, or operational outcomes that surprised you when working with ScopServ and the Landis platform?
The surprise was probably captured in how well we work together as an extended team. And if I'd let that stand out. But thereafter, it was kind of the almost each piece was evolving one on top of the other. And we're still very much there. So, and that might sound like a bit of a negative answer to your question, but I actually see it as a positive in many ways, in that we were able to progress stepwise, one piece on top of each other. That wasn't a case of going from really poor performance to everybody working late nights to suddenly good performance. It was really one piece on top of each other. And dealing with it today. So and it continues to be an incremental journey rather than these leaps and bounds, which are sometimes quite unsettling. What was a surprise, and this was more of an internal reflection, is how much it highlighted internal process inefficiencies, or like all things, being a technologist, I can't blame technology. But the reality is we actually experienced that it's not a technology problem, it's a people problem. And I mean LabourNet people problem, not a client problem. And once we'd managed to get the organization realigned to say, how do we get the best out of this technology, then it became a whole lot easier internally as well. And I think that was another aha moment. We always talk about it's people, process, data, all of those sorts of things that come through. But the importance of process was of people was exponentially more important in the early stages of the project.
I'm going to jump into my questions now. I'm going to ask you more on the user adoption and the deployment of the Teams Contact Center solution within your organization. How did that go? Speak to us on how each and everybody sitting down, trying to navigate this new system. Give us some insight on that.
Yes, I think it's important that we distinguish a few categories in there. The first category being our true frontline staff. That would be your typical receptionist at a branch or a prime allocated contact center type employee, and the adoption there was slick, it's clean. They didn't, to be honest, they didn't even realize that they were dealing with something different in many ways, other than answering and dealing with until we sort of took the first step of really exposing into them that they now suddenly had a lot more information. So initially it's just a telephone call, I was speaking to somebody, I have to get with there. And then it transitioned into I understand a little bit more. I have some more information available to me. And that was both what is coming in when the call is coming in, as well as accessibility into our world. Just through Teams presence, as an example, I could see who's there. We've all used whisper type transfers. Let me quickly phone you. Let me talk to you, whatever. But being able to have the voice conversation with a client, and in the same time typing a Teams message to somebody who you're dealing with, and being able to interact, that's almost empowered our frontline staff, where those frontline staff are not consultants, so they don't always have the skills or the background. They're the first touch point when I can't get to a skilled person immediately. So not putting them in a position of being under strain was, I think, the biggest value add on their side.
That's a really good point, Mike, there, the ability to engage with the wider team while engaging with the customers. That's quite potentially transformational. Who's someone who feels like they're out on a limb a bit in the conversation, to have someone back at HQ or a peer being like, yes, maybe this, maybe that.
Agreed. And so I think that's the one user group. Then we have our specialist support team, where they are experts in a domain. They do however, they are first line support in the domain. And then our third group is the consultant who is engaging with clients directly. They would typically be going out to a client. They would be conducting the hearing on premise, etc. So if we use the analogy there, our payroll solution, when a payroll administrator wants to do a function that they do maybe once every 2 or 3 years, they can't remember, they've got a vague recollection, they would phone into the support center, and there'd be a dedicated number that they can call, so they don't have to go through the main switchboard. We have a relationship with those clients. They hit a knowledgeable consultant directly. There we were able to, and I think the big value add there that came in was how we were able to optimize those support consultants just through smarter availability, looking at how we're rostering, and what types of value that we're getting because of the information that was coming out of the Landis Contact Centre on top of Teams. So the physical communication is one thing, but it's that information that sits on top of it allows us to optimize a little in that space. And our objective is not, let me not be disingenuous. We will always be looking to optimize, but that's not our primary objective. Our primary objective is to give high level of service to our clients. So that really helped us elevate. And it's coming back to that people problem. Suddenly our support team managers had so much more information available. They could see that we've rostered 4 people who are on call, but I can see that there are 3 and there are 10 client calls waiting in the queue. I've got to scramble now to find and bring others in. And we could dynamically know who was in the office, not in a meeting, not doing whatever, and get consultants who maybe in an hour or two's time would be going out to a client, but they have capacity right now, and we could dynamically bolster that set of resources. And that's an area that we'll be working on substantially over the next while, is that balancing effect that and today our clients, we've worked quite hard at moving them in such a way that the mindset is I don't phone my consultant because I don't know whether they're in a meeting, whether they're going to take my call, whether they're going to do whatever. If I phone the national number, I might get my consultant when I make that call, if we are smart enough, and often we can get you to your consultant immediately. But if we can't, we're going to get you to a knowledgeable person as quickly as possible. And again, I'm going to be transparent there. We're not happy with where we are in terms of achieving that, but that's the ultimate goal of the Teams and Landis-based platform, so that we really can get you to the right person at the right time, remove the stress, then we deal with the admin, and then we solve your problem. kind of in that order.
That visibility that you've talked there about the data is really interesting, because obviously Teams phone natively can route a call to different people and can provide that, but actually the data and the insights and the smarter routing and the presence-based routing sounds like that's a big value add there.
Absolutely. So it's not just about the physical routing. It's about how do we get that routing to add value to the interaction and get us closer to our objective of that 1 minute target that we're trying to achieve. But just to add to some of those horrible targets, we never want anybody to be on a call that's ringing for for more than 15 seconds as well. So we really are killing ourselves in some ways by putting a lot of pressure on, but we think it's the right thing to do.
Well, it's great to have high objectives, right? Because if you're falling out from 15 seconds to a minute by global standards, that's still a very impressive SLA for your customers.
Unfortunately, I have to acknowledge that many of our customers will today say they haven't had that experience consistently, but many will also say that they've had that experience as well. So it's a journey. Coming back to your point on the data, as we're able to leverage our data more and more effectively over the coming months, I think we'll start seeing some quantum leaps in that service delivery objective.
So, Mike, you're speaking my language. Customer service delivery and a customer experience is really right up my alley. And I'm super excited to hear what you guys are achieving. So, looking back, without giving away too many secrets, what key lessons have you learned from this journey, and what advice would you share with other organizations, particularly considering a Teams omni-channel contact center within the Microsoft ecosystem?
Probably the first lesson and the first optimization we found was be careful about the conflicting channels. Let me use that as an example. We enabled our whole organization to have both inbound and outbound calls off of Teams as an example. So the outbound calling became a white elephant very, very quickly, because you got a lot of competing channels of WhatsApp, normal GSM call, etc. And in reality, the phone on the desk in the office doesn't really exist anymore today. And fundamentally, the phone on the desk in the office doesn't exist because I'm not in the office most of the time. I'm at home. Okay, so what is the most? Or I'm at a client in the consultant sphere. So we kind of missed a trick over there in that one. And so the outbound, we're going to be consolidating quite a lot in that space. So that was an interesting lesson learned for us as to what is the value of outbound call in the context of a typical pick up the phone and phone somebody. But what is happening quite significantly, and part of our platform roadmap, is bringing our clients into the Teams journey directly. So as they have a problem in the not too distant future, they will be able to engage with us directly on Teams. And we've invested quite heavily internally in being able to leverage the Teams platform to allow the client to initiate communication with us. We believe that that's going to be one of the next big game changers for us that will allow us to get closer to those objectives I was talking about early on. Coming back to my comment around people, internal process, that was a significant piece. And I think the first lesson that really started paying dividends there was to make it every senior manager's responsibility to test the system every single day, i.e., a manager in Joburg picking up the phone, pretending to be a client, phoning the branch in Bloemfontein, and pretending to be under duress and really experiencing that customer journey. And until we were able to, at a fairly broad scale, from this, not just the CEO and myself and the core team, picking up these calls and saying, guys, we're not getting the experience that we want, but really driving that into the business as, and we tried all the things, the typical fire up an automated process that actually didn't add the value that we wanted. Until we got our people to engage and experience the customer experience and really digest it, we didn't see the value coming through. And we saw the stepwise changes as that was maturing.
That reminds me of a Jeff Bezos story, Mike, of where I think mid a board meeting, he rang their own support desk to see what the experience was. I think that's such a good cultural thing to do, to really know, like, not is it just working technically, but is the pickup time there, is the experience there?
Oh yes, I mean, we've got some Perla war stories internally of we've done that exact same exercise a good few times. And we've had from wonderful experiences to a disaster, and individual training and retraining that came through that were picked up as a consequence, etc.
And did you have this level of visibility before you had Landis and Teams,
No.
as in how long calls were taking, how many calls?
No, we were battling. We really were battling to get that visibility prior.
So what's next for LabourNet in terms of optimization or optimizing or expanding in your Microsoft ecosystem? And how do you see us, ScopServ, continuing to support your journey?
The really important part is it's data as the foundation. That is both the, I'm going to call it operational observability, how we understand what's happening, where things go, etc. And then it's the client leg to that. We still babes in the woods as far as how we are truly leveraging the wealth of data that we have about our clients to really improve that client experience at that stress point that we were talking about early on. So I think that's the foundation of the next phase for us. And the associated with that is then being able to expose it directly with our clients at that integration point in the platform, and it being a truly seamless client experience rather than what's LabourNet's telephone number now again? How do I find it? Et cetera, that we have. So I think that's where we see ourselves going. I think nothing today would be a complete answer without mentioning AI at least once.
I was going to ask, but I wondered if it would come up. So I'm really interested in your thoughts.
However, I think what is important is we're not an organization that is looking to remove the human in the loop. I think I've stressed it enough times. So it's about AI enabling and augmenting the consultant engaging with our client, not replacing the engagement that the client has with LabourNet with an overly zealous approach on pushing AI technology into that stress point. We will always and obviously be looking for efficiencies in that support role. So it is a critical part of what we're doing, and we'll see where that journey goes. It's early days for us, but the foundation for me is critically important, and the first foundation is the data. And I always say that another made-up statistic. But the reason that we've been safe in many instances globally as an industry is because people have been trying to find the holes. Now that we have AI, I think there are too many instances where AI has just been turned on without us doing the foundational work first, and then AI can find holes at a rate of millions of people at a time, kind of thing. So our first step on top of that is establishing an appropriate foundation. It's not just from a pure good practices perspective, but we also acknowledge that the type of data that we manage on behalf of our clients is probably one of the most desirable data sets that's out there. Just to use an example, if you were able to get hold of somebody's payroll, or you know everything about every employee that would be needed to perform identity theft, etc., etc., etc. So that cautious approach for us is really important to provide that level of confidence, both to ourselves and to our clients, that we're being more than responsible when we turn AI as the core part of our platform going forward.
Do you foresee, Mike, things like AI agent coaching would be the kind of contact center industry term? But you mentioned that idea of people chatting each other while they're on calls for support. It sounds like you're poised for that AI coaching to help the person on the front line. Could be really interesting.
Yeah. Well, even if we remove or before we talk about AI coaching, just the ability for, let's call it an AI-based summary of what this client who's called, I can identify the client off of their number, give me a quick summary, even if I'm not an experienced health and safety consultant, but I've the first person who's answered, I can have an intelligent conversation with a client just by being enabled. And I think that in itself is such a powerful piece, in that it kind of changes the game from what I would call a static view of the client. And I think we've all been doing that for a long time. Last time they called us, whatever. But now suddenly going, okay, well, a much more dynamic view. We've got that static view, but what's happening? What's on the news today? What's been there? How is it potentially impacting the industry of this client? Is there a strike in that industry that's happening today? So I can almost foresee why this client is calling me, because I now know a lot more of this dynamic information. And that in itself, enabling the client interaction, just puts us in that position to continually demonstrate the empathy part of our client service that is so important, to just drop those stress levels as the call is answered.
LabourNet deals with complex legal matters and often very challenging client interactions. Yet your team constantly remains so positive and professional. How does LabourNet maintain such a strong, engaged, and healthy culture in a high-pressure service environment? And the reason why I'm asking you this is, as a service provider, we've experienced this firsthand, and we'd love to hear your perspective.
I think it starts from the organization and who we are, how we see our clients, and you're talking about the supplier relationship. We often discuss it internally. That says, how do we want our clients to engage with us, and are we treating our suppliers in that way? And I think it's a conscious conversation that happens on a regular basis. Similarly associated with the way in which we deal with our clients, the way in which we engage with them, we've realized and we've recognized that this is not just a service engagement. This is it's first and foremost grounded in the people. I think the strategy of saying we are a people first business, we're not an AI first business, as an example, is an important part. And I think as we demonstrate it internally, it creates those healthy outward relationships as well. So that's probably the best answer I can give you right now. But you've prompted a question, and I need to do a little bit of digging internally because it's. And thank you very much for that. It's nice to hear. I think sometimes we're often all too harsh on ourselves, and we forget to take and recognize those wins where they're being experienced in the broader ecosystem that we engage with as well. So thank you for that. It's a very complimentary question. Thank you.
I really appreciate it. I want to just add to that is that I think we forget that sometimes we're dealing with people. And I loved what you said, AI is here to stay and it's just going to keep growing, but we're still people,
Yeah, no, I think it's about enabling the people, isn't it? I think you've all touched on, and Mike in particular has touched on, it's about enabling and supporting, and it sounds like you're on a great journey. And Mike, I appreciate the transparency of where, you've got objectives and room to further improve the customer service. It's great to hear a really honest perspective on that ongoing journey. And as you said, I think it's a forever journey, isn't it?
That's it, very much so.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, everybody, for joining the pod. Really appreciate the insights, and everybody look out for another one soon.
Thank you very much. Appreciate being invited, and thank you for the opportunity to share.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.